What is going on, everyone, and welcome into another episode of Expected Bets for your go-to podcast for all things hockey betting. I am joined by Franco the Banker and Adams Digest today. Guys, how we doing?
I'm
Doing
feeling great. My beard's
So
almost back. My beard's almost back, guys.
I was going to say the Matt Molson comp is starting to go out the window here. So I don't, maybe we got one more show of it, but I think after that, we're going to have to either try to find a new image or try to pivot away from that.
You can have some of my gray beard if you want.
I have some little grays coming in, so
I don't think I have any other color but gray coming in, so you can have mine.
How'd we do this weekend gambling?
spotty. Friday was shit. Saturday and Sunday I did well. I know a lot of people in the NHL world were struggling on Saturday though, but I did all right.
Yeah. Work. I work in a restaurant, so weekends are kind of tough for me. I usually do most of my betting during the week and just kind of just refocus on Monday for the Monday games, which is good for NHL, which is great for Major League Baseball, which is what I usually my two things that I bet. So yeah, nothing crazy. Sunday had a really good night last night with first quarter props and had a couple live bets during that game that cashed. So overall, pretty good weekend.
Love it. Any picks for the NFL game tonight?
Honestly, I think it's gonna go under. Both these teams play like two high shells. Everything's gonna be underneath. I think they're gonna try to limit the big play. Good luck against Justin Jefferson against zone. But yeah, I just think I just want a close game, and I think it's gonna go under.
I like it.
I think you take. I'm really considering taking the Rams plus the points, to be honest with you. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Don't get that line. I mean, if you pressure Sam Darnold, he's going to be dancing in the backfield, and we saw what he did last week against Detroit in their pressure. So
he's turning into a pumpkin right before our eyes, guys.
Yeah, now he's going to go for 303 touchdowns. So us hockey guys talking football, that would be fun.
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm coming off a brutal beat. I had Nico Echevarria in the Sony Open this weekend. He makes it to a playoff. I had him at 100-1 and loses on the second hole. So I'm still trying to recover from that one. That one really hurt me. And the guy who beat him too chipped in on 18 to make an eagle to get into the playoff too. So
brutal.
Damn you, Nick Taylor. He was also another 100-1 shot though, which is kind of crazy as well. But all right, that was some nice talk with the NFL and PGA. So I guess we can get into the first game of the night at this point. Florida at Philly. Philly plus 154. Florida minus 185. Total set at 5.5. Minus 130 to the over. Franco, there's shockingly a large amount of props that I like in this game. I don't know about you, but since it is your team, I will let you have the floor first.
Yeah, I mean, to start off with sides and totals, I'm really kind of unsure. So we're seeing lots of 5.5s, just in general, which I feel like last year, if you were to flip us back to this time last year, everything was 6.5, pretty much no matter what. So scoring's down in general, and we're seeing it in the props as well. Prop market is like I said, we've been having up and down days, a lot of us, because if there's no goals, then we're not hitting the props, and shots have been down in general. So that's usually the way to pivot. So seeing 5.5s kind of gives me a little bit of a pause here. Urson came back a few games ago. Didn't look great his first few. He did get a shutout against Anaheim. That is Anaheim, though, so I don't want to get too high on it. Bobrovsky, obviously former Flyer angle as well, playing back in Philly. I don't know. I should have looked at his previous stats in Philly to see how he's done, but he's always, can be a guy that can steal a game. So kind of a little bit worried about betting a ton of props here and going towards, overs in general here. But obviously the first angle that popped up for me, just given the revenge angle here, is Tippett. You can get his point prop at a plus number, plus 100 across the board. I went greedy with it, though, and paired him with TK around like plus 170. So I like that. I don't mind grabbing any of those guys on that first line. I think there's some value with Frost. I know one of you guys was talking about before the show, so I'll let you guys go into that. I don't mind him for a goal either, Frost, by the way. But mainly focused on Tippett here. So his point prop with TK is my go. You can just do a straight point prop if you want. And I like his goal prop. I believe that's plus 325. He scored last game against them. Hadn't really been showing that revenge angle, at least in his previous matchups against Florida. It's been kind of like up and down. But I like him to get on the board tonight. I think there's some value there. Also, shot props in general took a kind of like a massive odds change earlier today at some point middle of the day. So I actually bet Tibbetts shots at 2.5, but I had to parlay it because he was minus 160 earlier. So I parlayed him with one shot from Arvidsson just to get him to a bettable number. But you can just take him now at minus 130 for over 2.5 shots. Again, same thing. I'm just going for that revenge narrative there with him. Shots have been up and down for this guy. Obviously, he throws the puck a ton. So I'm hoping that being at home, getting the better line matchups as well. Obviously, Torts will get him out there in a better matchup, not going against Barkov shutting down. But yeah, so those are my main angles here. I'm not really looking at much on the Florida side, just again because I don't want to be too heavily invested in an over here.
Yeah, so I looked at Bobrovsky's history against Philly, 4 games here dating back to 2022, 3 goals against, 2, 4, and 3. His saves, though, has looked pretty good, though. He's 34 saves, 24 saves, 18, and then 30. So his current line's at that 23.5 mark. He's covered in 3 of his last 4, but his goals against at that 2.5 mark have gone over in 3 of 4. So that's the Bobrovsky stats. There's a few other guys that I like. I mean, you were talked about Morgan Frost as well, Adam, before the show. Maybe a point stack with him and Konechny on that same line. That looks pretty good. And then even Florida's third line for Hagee and Lundell, that point stack is pretty interesting. And you're getting an incredible price on that as well. So before I get into my plays, I will let you kick us off for any props or size or totals that you have in this game.
Was that me? Was that me?
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry about that. I didn't hear that part. My apologies there.
No worries.
Yeah, so kind of just going back, like Franco just talked about the revenge angle, don't tip it. I actually went a little bit different way and attacked his shots on goal. He does like to rip the puck. He's at home, a little bit better line matchups. He might miss the Barkov line, which I'm hoping he does. If he does, then I really like this prop. But I took his to lead the game in shots. Obviously, dead heats rules apply. So if he's ties with somebody else, it's just like you break it up a little bit. But it's plus 500 versus former team. Just think he gets there, shoots a bunch. He had 7 against them. I think 2 games back head to head versus this team. So love Owen Tippett. And I actually think this game goes over. I know it's 5.5. I think I'm seeing 6 on Pinnacle. They're pretty sharp. So if you see a 5.5, I'd take that right now. Both the just series history too. Like there was, I think Florida beat them twice already this year, 4-3, and then like 7-5.
Yep.
I think Spencer Knight was in net for that 7-5 crazy game. So obviously a little bit different situation there, but I just think this could be an over game. I think Florida might have their eyes on New Jersey tomorrow. This is the first end of a back-to-back. New Jersey's already beat them twice this year. So I'm not going to say they're going to come out and lose or anything like that. I'm not going to take a side. I was leaning Philly money line a little bit earlier just because I think there could be a little look ahead. But I just think that this game could go over the thing. And like you kind of talked about with the Frost and Konechny matchup, that line has been buzzing. So love that. And then Lundell point really stood out as well. So I don't mind that at all with Barry Hagee as well. So and then also I think Philly, they don't take many penalties, but I'm pretty sure they have one of the worst penalty kills in hockey. Franco, you can kind of talk about that a little bit. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Philly has a terrible penalty kill. So maybe a Barkov power play point. He's got a power play point in 2 straight. So just wanted to throw it out there. Not official plays, but my official play is a little half a unit sprinkle on plus 500 for Owen Tippett to lead the game in shots.
I like that look a lot. It's interesting too when you talk about the Panthers, right? Because traditionally they're not a team that you're going to look to target against shots on goals. But if you go on Shot Props' website, which I'm sure every NHL capper uses at this point, if you're betting shots on goal, in the last 10 games, Florida's given up the 9th most shots on goal to forwards and the 7th most to defensemen. So traditionally, I know a lot of people look at that year to date. But honestly, the last 10, I feel like, is more indicative of kind of a current team's performance for everything. So that being said, there's a few guys that jump out to me, and I want to kind of we'll talk this through, I guess. Michkov's the first guy, right? Before Franco, his line wasn't bettable straight. Now you're getting it at minus 165 for 2+. He's hitting each of his last 3 overall. The reason it's tempting to kind of throw him in a parlay is because of his shot attempts, 5, 5, and 11. And you're getting that at 2+ shots on goal tonight. He missed in his previous game against Florida, but his home history is also pretty impressive, hitting in 6 of his last 7. So is Michkov maybe a parlay piece tonight, or based on what you've seen with this Philadelphia Flyers team, are you kind of staying away?
Well, it's funny because a couple of weeks ago when we did the show, when we talked about him, he was like a road. He was on a road tear, and since then, like, and he was hitting that 2.5 line. Now it's shifted, like flipped the other way. So I saw him earlier today and was actually considering taking his under 2.5 before it shifted down to 1.5, based on that. And then I looked at the chart and said, "Oh, actually, it's kind of flipping a little bit." It's been unpredictable where he ends up in a game, like in the middle of a game. And like one time he had started on the second unit, then he got shifted up to the first unit on the power play. He's just been all over the place towards has not been very consistent with his usage. So it just makes it hard to really track and have a predictable outcome with betting any of his props, even his point prop. You want to bet his under because, I mean, frankly, he hasn't been recording points. And then, he gets that goal late in the last game and just like, okay, well, there it is. So, the talent's still there, and he can, even with the line mates he has, he can still make stuff happen. But it's a little worrisome, especially if Florida gets an early lead. If it's 2-0, 3-0, maybe that first line's not clicking, they might move him up to it. Maybe they bump Tibbet off, or maybe whatever happens. So
Torts
there have been
putting lines in a blender.
Yes, it's happened so much, and it's funny because Konechny and Michkov showed a lot of ability together to start in the beginning of the year, and since then it's just been like, nah, you guys just can't play together anymore. We're not going to do that. So it doesn't really make sense, but I guess there's a long-term plan in Torts' mind. So in general, Michkov is kind of like a stay away player for me, just because it's too unpredictable.
Okay. The next guy, Tyson Forrester, hitting 4 of his last 5. His attempts are all there as well. Head-to-head history is not great, but he has hit in 6 of his last 7 home games. You're getting that at 2+ for minus 150. You have more interest in Forrester over Michkov. All right.
Yeah, Adam, obviously, just because I know what his usage is. I know he's a guy that fires a good amount, kind of like what Tippett was last year. It felt like so, and his role is kind of stable. So I don't mind that, especially with his recent form at home.
Okay. And obviously, like that Tippett bet too, even just at 3+, I think is a great call. The last guy we need to talk about is Forsling. I'm trying to pull up his stats right now for his shots on goal. Let me see if I can find it here. Forsling has this insane stretch that he's on. I think he's hitting like 19 or 20. He's missed only 1 during that span. It's been an incredible run. Head-to-head, he's hitting 6 of his last 7 against Philly. I'm looking at his road splits right now. I think so on the road, he's hit at a 57.1% clip. But if you go back to his last 20 on the road, even his last 10 on the road, he's hit 9 of his last 10. So struggled at the beginning of the year on the road, has rebounded since. On the season at home, I know it's something absurd. I think, he's hitting 95.5% of his games at home this year at that 2+ mark. Just an insane number. You're getting Forsling at 2+ shots on goal at minus 140 tonight. I get Philly's been kind of stingy this year, especially in the last few games. They rank dead last for shots on goal to defensemen. But at what point is that just is it weird to say minus 140 is a value bet for the hit rate that he's had?
No, I think 140 is kind of like my cutoff range. If I like something enough, I'll go as high as minus 145 even sometimes. So I think if you like that bet, which I think it's got some legs to it, I don't mind it. I don't even mind taking it up to 3, to be honest with you, plus 185.
Yeah, I mean it. So yeah, he's hit 19 of his last 20 games. 6 of his last 7 against Philly. 9 of his last 10 on the road, and you're going to get minus 140. Again, it seems like a trap line, right? Of kind of the cutoff of what people would bet it at, but it still seems like there's some value there. So I'm probably going to add that to my card tonight. Any other plays for you guys in this one?
I almost told him about the power play and Philly's penalty kill, so they're kind of towards the middle of the pack, like 17th. They're not terrible, not great. I would like to also highlight that Philly's power play is just horrendous. That would be the special teams that I would want to avoid if I was betting Flyers props. So unfortunately, like that doesn't really give you much of a boost with guys like Drysdale being on the top power play unit and Konechny, Frost being on that top unit as well. But they did score against Anaheim. I think they got 2 power play goals. So.
Hey Franco, how many penalty kill attempts are how many power play attempts are the Flyers giving up? Just curious. The last couple,
Hold on.
they giving up a lot because I know Florida draws a lot of penalties.
For the season, they're ranked 22nd at 2.71. Shout props for this stuff because that's how it goes.
Yeah, he's awesome. Sorry, I should have had that answer a little bit better.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Actually, so their last 10, they're 29th, tied for 29th at 2 a game. So yeah, they're not giving up a lot of power plays.
Perfect. So that'll lead me into my next play. And one last play on this one for me, and I'm a sucker for block shots. But Florida does have some volume. That again, Gustav Forsling, obviously they have guys for the defensive end. Oliver Ekman-Larsson shoots like crazy back there as well. And if they're not going to be on the power play, Nick Seeler is not on the penalty kill. Nick Seeler is averaging like his last 5. He doesn't get the minutes, which kind of blows my mind a little bit. But he's averaging he's got 3 into his last 4. He's only playing like 13 minutes a game his last 5. But if you look at his history versus Florida, if you want to pull that bad boy up, it's insane.
Yeah.
4-6, 4-5. Obviously, he's played a little bit more minutes in these games, but he's not actually. He actually hasn't played that many minutes. He's still averaging about 14 minutes a game. So obviously, you have a little bit more higher shot volume on the road, but they are at home. So at 2.5, and the books are kind of like, in my opinion, they're kind of tilting their hand a little bit on what they think is going to happen because it's minus 105, and the other guys that are on the penalty kill are like Travis Sanheim is plus money. So to me, I'm gonna rock with Mr. Nick Seeler over 2.5 block shots and minus 105 for a half a unit.
I had him circled as well. I was just about to bring that bet up, so I'm glad you did. Yeah, I love that bet too tonight. Minus 105 for 2+2.5 block shots for Nick Seeler. So I'm on that as well.
If you want to, I think Bet365, one of the best sports books, you can actually alt block shots. So if you want to take Sealer down to 2 and pair that up with a Mitchkov 2+ shots, that'll be a nice little builder if you want to do that. That way, if you don't trust his 2.5 or a Forsling 2 or something like that.
Yeah, I usually try to stay away from parlays. So getting Sealer at minus 1.5 is probably going to be just my straight bet on DraftKings. So you have Sealer, block shots, Tippett to lead this game in shots. Any other plays?
Yeah, I'm gonna make the over official and just get it at 6. And I'm just gonna get the better odds plus a push factor there for it. So just like that look a lot too. I think this game does have some shit out potential. Just with Florida playing on the road first end of a back-to-back tomorrow.
I like it. Franco, any last plays for you in this one?
Just something when I was looking at the power play opportunities against Florida, actually ranks 4th with 3 a game their last 10. So look to Philly power play to be getting some opportunities. That doesn't mean they're going to be productive, but
Tippett can just keep shooting.
Yeah, I mean that just plays more into the Tippett shots, which is great. So if you really are feeling saucy, I mean, like I said, they got 2 the last game. Drysdale was the guy that was involved in both of them, and I actually cashed on his
That was revenge.
power
Come
play
on now.
point. Yeah, I'm just saying you're going to get some insane value on power play point props for the Flyers. Drysdale's at like almost plus 600. Frost is 610. So just, if you want to get a little wild, that might be another angle here.
Yeah, and I'm checking, and we can go to the next game. I'm just checking up Bet Rivers. They like to play you can bet their team just to score power play points. So I'll take a look at that and share it with the crew if anybody's interested in that.
Bet Rivers has
That
some.
Detroit prop is an absolute wagon, and I'm betting it tomorrow.
Yeah. Bet Rivers sometimes throws out absurd lines too with shots on goals, like 20 to 30 cents lower than your kind of DKs, your FanDuels, your BetMGM. So
Yeah,
it's one of my favorite books.
Yeah, when normal books like move players at 3.5, they're the one book that'll leave it at 2.5 and juice to the gills. And it's like, oh,
Yep.
do I want to lay that price? No, but I will because it's 2.5. And then he doesn't hit 2.5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Argh.
That's very true. All right. Next game up on tonight's slate, we have Calgary traveling to Chicago to take on the Blackhawks. The Blackhawks are plus 136. Chicago is minus 162. Total set at 6.5 plus 102. This moved while we were on the show. It was at 6 and then jumped up to 6.5. Chicago 6-8-4, or excuse me, Calgary 6-8-4 on the road. Chicago 9-12-0 at home. Calgary 5-3-2 in their last game. They're in their last 10. They're on a 2-game win streak. Chicago 2-8 in their last 10. These teams have matched up twice this season. December 21st being the last game, Calgary won 6-4, and October 15th, Calgary won 3-2. A few point stacks that are intriguing tonight, being Bedard and Bertuzzi, and then even Kadri and Huberdeau on that first line as well. But I like Kadri or Huberdeau for another angle in this one. But Adam, I'll start off with you. Any plays, sides, totals, props in Calgary, Chicago?
Yeah, so Connor Bedard for an assist is plus money. You get that at plus 125. I locked it in earlier on Fanatics. He shouldn't be plus money for an assist. He's playing really great hockey. Get one of the worst power penalty kills in Calgary as of late as well. I think they did, like you said, they matched up already. And I just love he's just making plays for his teammates. Tyler Bertuzzi on that same line. He's just I just think he should not be plus money for an assist here. And then also, I think I'm leaning to the over. Haven't made it official yet. I'll wait till you guys to see what your guys' kind of thoughts on that is. But I also like Connor Bedard for a power play point as well. Just kind of going and attacking this Calgary defense. And Dustin Wolf is starting, and he's terrible on the road. So I'll let you guys. I think one of you guys probably has some better stats than I do. Just trying to double check some odds real quick here. But yeah, love leaning to the over and love Connor Bedard. Plus assist at plus money.
Yeah, and you get Mrazek starting tonight for Chicago, which is always beneficial when you're looking at an over. In the last 10 games, Chicago's given up an average of 4.5 goals against. Their season average is 3.42, so they've been horrendous defensively. But they're also scoring too. And to the over, they're 7-1-2 in their last 10, which I like. The issue is Calgary does not play in to the over. They're 3-7 in their last 10, coming off a tight one against LA and Anaheim. I don't mind the over just given the goaltender matchup. So I do like that. If you can find that at 6, I think that's at BetMGM right now for minus 110. Kind of get out of there with the push potential. Maybe an empty netter saves you there. I would take it at that 6 mark, but I don't think I would go up to the 6.5 tonight. Franco, any thoughts on the total or a side tonight even?
First of all, I believe that Chicago's on a 10 straight first period over run. So that would be something I would look at. If you're considering the over, maybe you just grab that first period and get in, get out, and be done with it. And that way you don't have to worry about any kind of nonsense of like the second period slowing down. It's 2-1 after the first and you get no goals in the second, and now you're just sweating. So I don't mind that. You can get a minus 126 at FanDuel, minus 130 on a couple other books. So I feel like there's some value there. Huberdeau and Kadri point parlay is plus 125. I feel like that's pretty free. just given Mrazek's recent form. I know Calgary has not been good on the road in general. Not to mention the Wolf stat, like you said, but I think on top of that, just the team hasn't been as good on the road. So I don't want to be involved with Chicago really, as much as I feel like this kind of sides towards them a little bit. I don't want to have to be backing Chicago with Mrazek in that. But I think I like the idea of doing what you said, just taking Bertuzzi and Bedard together. So parlaying them together is what? Probably like plus 200 again, plus 190 on 365. So I just think that value is insane. Like, if this is a game that you think that Chicago could potentially be good in or win in some sort of way, like, I'd much rather just take plus 190 for those two guys to be involved. I know Bertuzzi burned me last game with that parlay, but I'll go back to it.
Yeah, just 2 point stacks, Kadri and Huberdeau, and then Bedard and Bertuzzi. I like both of those as well. I know EV Analytics, that site, has all of the first period, second period, third period, team total data you can want. And you are correct. Chicago is 10-0 to the first period over in their last 10 games. And at home, they are 9-1 to the over in their last 10 games. I'm trying to pull up Calgary's stats here. So on the road, what is it? Calgary in the first period over. I'm not seeing them.
I will say while you're looking that it seems like since Chicago made the coaching change from Richardson, they've been playing at like a better pace overall. I don't think they're still a good offensive team, but they're at least playing a little bit with a little bit more, juice.
Yeah. So Calgary is 4-6 on the road to the first period over, but as a whole, I think the last 10 overall, they're 3-7 to the first period over. So that benefits you in that way as well. And Cap just mentioned the Bedard assist, which Adam's on, the Huberdeau and Kadri point stack, which me and Franco are on. And then we're also on that Bertuzzi and Bedard point stack as well. Adam kind of caps just your echo in this at this point. Wolf not so great on the road. So I like that as well. Did you decide on the total in this one, Adam? Are you going to take it at 5.5, 6, 6.5?
Yeah, I kind of forgot about the first period, 1.5. So I'll probably just tail Franco on that and just bet the over 1.5 in that. Just because Chicago has been pretty efficient. They haven't been shooting a lot, as we kind of got burned on that. There was a little collab last week. Last game Chicago played, I think they had maybe 10 shots on goal or something like that. It was absolutely crazy. They just forgot how to play hockey. So as much as I want to go over 20.5 or 21.5 saves for Wolf, I can't bet that market right now because I got burned pretty bad on that last game. So still a little better about that if you can't tell already. I think I'm done talking about this game.
Yes, that first period over 1.5 on DraftKings is minus 135, which I think is a pretty nice price in this one. So I mentioned Huberdeau before for that point stack with Kadri, but his shots on goal is also pretty interesting tonight. He's hit in 6 of his last 7 games on the road. He's hit in each of his last 3 overall. If you look at his last 10, he's hit in, 7 of his last 10. And then looking at his history against Chicago as a whole, it's split 4-4. Chicago in their last 10 games has given up the second most shots on goal to forwards this kind of during that span. And you're getting Huberdeau, I'm pretty sure, at minus 130 tonight, if I'm correct. Huberdeau minus 140. So that's right about the cutoff. But I'm adding him to my card as well, just given the amount of shots that Chicago has allowed in that recent span. Any other plays in this one for you guys?
No, I think I'm good. It's crazy seeing Dustin Wolf at 20.5 saves for his line.
It makes sense though.
It's crazy.
They're just not they're playing with pace, but they're also still getting hemmed in their own zone. They're just so I wouldn't mind maybe a Mrazek if somebody has an option to bet Mrazek goals allowed. That might be another look just because he is god awful. Just looking at the stats real quick, he has allowed over 2.5 goals allowed in 5 straight on the. So that was that. That's away. My apologies. Oh, sorry about that. So he's still 3 out of his last 5 at home. He has allowed more than 2.5 goals. So maybe like a Calgary team total. I just can't. I just hate this Chicago team too so much.
So Mrazek goals against. I just had it up. I think they just pulled, or no, it's on a BetMGM. So Mrazek over 2.5 goals against is -150.
Yeah, no, I'll just take what's a team total for Calgary? I just had that pulled up. 3.5. Yeah, I'd probably just take Calgary's team total over 3.5 at +110.
I like it. All right. Any other plays before we move on to the last game?
No, let's go. I was looking at Seth Jones under 2.5. That's still available on FanDuel, but you got parlay with something that's -192. He's not been hitting. So
yeah, you could also look at another angle though, like we talked about with that. Yeah, or that Tippett shots on goal or Bedard point. Got an inverse stack at that point.
Konechny point has been on fire lately, and it's
like
-165. That's maybe a good thing to pair it up with.
Agreed. All right, before we talk about this last game, I want to talk to you about DraftKings. New customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5 using promo code THPN. Be sure to check that out if you are a new DraftKings customer. We appreciate all of these signups that we've gotten through that link and the support for the show. Last game of the night, LA at Edmonton. Best game of this slate for sure. LA +170, Edmonton -205, total set at 5.5, -122 to the over. The Kings are 10-9-4 on the road. Edmonton 14-7-1 at home. These teams matched up 2 weeks ago. LA won 4-3 in OT. LA is on a roll right now. They're 5-1 in their last 6, but so is Edmonton, also going 5-1 in their last 6. Franco, there's a ton of props that look good in this one tonight. The issue is the odds don't necessarily align where you're going to look to bet these straight. How are you kind of approaching this game, and then get into some of these props for this last game?
Well, first of all, I saw a question in the chat talking about Fogel's shots. I just can't get there, just given his recent form. I could see that it was definitely in consideration for me, given the former team angle. So I don't mind it. At this point it's so bettable too. I might add it. I didn't like it earlier as -130-ish or something like that. I don't mind it now. I know he has not been hitting recently, but given this is his first time playing back in Edmonton, the previous game was in LA, I think he could have a little extra juice tonight. So over 1.5 feels pretty damn crazy. So for him, I know he's not getting a ton of, power play minutes and stuff like that, but just given the narrative here of him first time back in Edmonton, I don't mind it.
He still had over 14 minutes on of ice time across the last few games, and it's jumped up even more than that. So he's certainly, I mean, if the ice times you're worried about, I don't know, I would be that. The attempts aren't awful for 1.5 mark, right? Like you look at 2-0, 4-2, 3-3. For these 1.5 guys, that's kind of the standard rate. And any time that they're going to start to get into that 5 to 6 shot attempt range, they're going up because they're likely hitting that 2 mark at probably a 80 to 90% clip. I don't hate it. It's a bettable price tonight. You're the revenge guy, so if you're on it, then that's probably all Dave needs to hear.
I think I'm gonna add it. Just given that price drop, it's bettable now. I didn't like it at -130 or whatever it was earlier today, so I'll add it. Obviously, I want his goal. That's like the main prop I want to be involved in. He's kind of gone cold recently with his goal prop, but before that, let's see what the run was. He had like 3 goals in 5, but he has not recorded one in 4 straight. But I mean, this is his former team. This, again, first time back in Edmonton. He played once against Edmonton earlier this year, and he did record a goal. So I'm going back to the well there. That's +440, which feels real good. And then the other guy I'm heavily involved with is Arvidsson. Same thing, same narrative, just the opposite side of the game here. Arvidsson's been having a pretty damn good year. Obviously, he's been a guy that's had injury concerns over his career, and I think that's one of the reasons why he wasn't brought back with LA. He had missed a lot of time last year in general. So yeah, they kind of tossed him away. Edmonton brought him in on the cheap, and now he's locked in on the second line with Draisaitl, who at this point feels like he's, we've been talking about this a little bit in our one chat, that he's been better than McDavid, it feels like. So Draisaitl has been fantastic this year. Really keeping these guys that he's playing with on his line, him and Arvidsson, Podkolzin, afloat and making them look pretty damn good as well. Arvidsson has points in 3 of his last 4 games, including a couple of multi-point games over his last 10. Head-to-head, obviously, they played once this year. He did score a goal, and he had 5 shots on goal in that game on 10 attempts. The thing I love about Arvidsson, and this is something that goes back to even when he was on the Kings, whenever he played Nashville, he fires the puck a ton. He's very much like Rodriguez, where it's like you're going to look at the game log or be watching the game, whatever you're doing, and you're going to see he has a shot attempt in the first 5 minutes of the game. He might not make it on net because of the nature of his game. He's definitely a guy that fires the puck hard. So he could definitely have some misses as well. Like I said, 10 attempts last time, so 5 misses. But yeah, I just think it's always been his thing. He definitely gets up for these type of games. He played Nashville twice this year as well, still with that revenge narrative. I believe he had 5 shots on goal in the one shot on goal in the other, and recorded a goal in one of those games as well. So, like I said, right back to the well with him, going with his goal prop, his point prop, and his over 2.5 shots. And again, that moved up the shot prop. I got it plus 110 earlier today. I think you can get as good as plus 128. So those are the 2 main guys I'm looking at. And I saw today you could get McDavid and Hyman for a point at minus 125. Just for a point.
I know everyone. I like that Arvidsson angle. I know everyone talks about the Leon Draisaitl versus Nashville day. When are we going to start talking about Leon Draisaitl versus the Kings day? His shots on goal history is utterly insane versus them. He's hit in 13 of his last 16 games against them. He's hit in 4 of his last 5. He missed last game. He had 1 shot on goal on 6 attempts, so it's still there for you. You're getting his mark at 3+ tonight for minus 115. I get LA's been pretty stingy against shots on goal, especially in their last 10, which is, again, kind of an issue, ranking 22nd. But that being said, Draisaitl to have 3+ shots on goal at minus 115 is a bet I'm willing to make. So that is on my card for tonight. Even as 2+ points will look great. Before we go to Adam, a lot of people like the draw here. Fogle probably will see a shift in overtime. I would agree with that one. And then he talked about the under in this one. The under is interesting. I don't love it at all. I'm staying away from a side in total in this game just because of the explosive potential Edmonton's offense has. Their defense hasn't been, I don't think, outstanding in the last few games either. So I'm staying away from this one. And you look at the history between these teams, the total's gone over in 4 of the last 5 of the last 6 games. So I'm staying away. Adam, did you have a thought on the side or total in this one?
Yeah, so just looking at series history, I believe it's been an under series, at least in the regular season. If I stop me if I'm wrong. I just remember looking some of that stuff earlier today. But I do like the tie. I like the draw at plus 330. Get that at FanDuel right now. I'm not 100% what the DraftKings price is, but again, both these teams are looking for points. They know each other really well, and if there was, I would lean to the under. So like I said, just series history. Also, just these teams just like to play this nitty gritty, don't make a mistake type of game. Not a lot of shots. Like you said, Kings are pretty good, stingy versus pretty much all possessions as well. So, but yes, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, we have an insane history here. Also, Adrian Kempe versus the Oilers is the thing, and it's his also, I believe, his price is now playable again as a straight. Is that correct, Franco? Did you say that in the chat earlier?
I believe so. Hold on. Give me one
Okay.
second. Yeah, minus 113.
Oh yeah, that's great, great value there. But my official play in this is Connor McDavid power play point. Um, the Kings have given up a power play point in 3 straight versus Edmonton. 2 or 3 straight versus Edmonton. Connor McDavid has a power play point, actually, in 7 straight games. He has a power play point versus the Kings, and also 13 of his last 15 games he has a power play point versus the Kings. This is regular season and postseason, and it's plus 130 tonight. Just taking the value here. It's also Connor McDavid's birthday tonight, so I don't know if you've taken to that narrative at all. I was just looking. He's played a couple times on his birthday. He's got 2 goals. He's got 1 game with 2+ points and stuff like that. So don't hate that narrative whatsoever, especially when it's the best Connor McDavid in the world. He's just unbelievable. So yeah, Connor McDavid power play point. You can also get. Sorry, my dog's going crazy. You can actually get Connor McDavid to. You don't like that play? Yes, you do.
Dogs
You
are
can get
barking
Connor.
tonight. Yeah, you could take LA at this point, then, right there.
What's that?
I said if the dogs are barking, LA at plus 170 tonight could be the move in this one.
Hey, you know what? Actually, don't hate it. Really don't. They're just playing really good. They're just playing good hockey. So don't hate that. Power play point for McDavid, and then also I got another play. Go ahead. I just gotta pull up the stats real quick to back it up. So go ahead. I'll let you. Any other plays for you guys?
I had Draisaitl 3+. There's a few other interesting names. Kempe is one of them. Byfield at 2+ after his reign of terror to the under to start the season here. We were ever wondering if he was going to ever go back over that number. He has, and he's been on a tear. We talk about streaky players, and he might win the crown this year because this is insane of how he's going to flip that narrative. I don't know what happened during that span, but his shots on goal mark is hit pretty consistently in the last few. I'm looking up his so he's minus 145 for 2+ tonight. Let me pull up his stats. Byfield's hit in 6 of his last 7 road games. He's hit in 8 of his last 10 overall, and he's got some pretty decent history against Edmonton. So if you're looking for more parlay pieces or just more bets in this one, I don't mind Byfield at that minus 145 mark for 2+.
So I'm looking through right now. Stuart Skinner saves is at 20.5.
It's insane.
Which
I'd like. You got to lean over. You
yeah.
have to. Just
Yeah,
like,
you have
yeah,
to.
you have to lean over because serious history. I mean, the Kings are like they're not allowing a lot, but like they're still putting up plenty of shots. Like 32, 23, 21, 24, but like not a lot, but like to me in a division series, yeah, I would totally lean over on that. Just Skinner has just been terrible as of late.
I mean, even if you look at LA's last 7, they're averaging 24.4 shots on goal per game. I mean, that means he's going to give up 2 goals, right?
Yeah.
So,
And the last 3 games head to head, the Kings have put up 40, 32, and 29 shots.
This game's usually an outlier in terms of shots, which is the reason why I don't mind Draisaitl and Byfield, because you look at this history coming in, or even the recent games, basically, not a ton. But when they do match up against each other, these usually are kind of a more faster style game. I know LA likes to play the trap, but Edmonton's usually able to kind of have their way with this one and force Edmonton into a track meet, it seems like.
well, and LA wants to beat this team. This is the team that always knocks them out of the playoffs every year. So if there's ever a game that this team has circled, it's this one every single year, I would think. So 100%. I can see them throwing pucks on that.
Yep.
Yeah, LA doesn't play tomorrow, and neither does Edmonton. So, all right, any other plays for you guys?
Tomorrow's slate's going to be awesome.
Tomorrow's slate is going to be awesome.
I'm very ready for it. But this is a nice little appetizer, right?
Yep. Do you guys want to put together a parlay before we wrap up here for tonight's game?
Sure.
All right. Adam, what is your best bet of the night? Doesn't have to be any odds work in this one.
For For a parlay piece, let's go with Travis Konechny point.
I like it. That's bad. It's minus 165. That's not bad at all.
Not one bad.
No.
Not bad at all.
No. Franco?
Let's go. Do I stay with points or the shots? The shot market change today that happened is really freaking me out. Like I don't know if they're just trying to bait us into taking overs right now.
Oh, they 100% are.
Yeah,
it's like
I really like Huberdeau at that 2+ mark tonight. That's what I was thinking for that piece.
All right,
so
you take that.
I'll take Huberdeau at 2+. Okay, that's minus 140. Konechny's minus 165. So last leg of the parlay is up to you.
All right, let's do.
Do you have 2 bets that you're debating between?
Well, I'm trying to decide whether I go like I was kind of thinking Arvidsson point, but it's crazy, right? Because that's plus 120 or plus 130 or whatever. I don't know if I should go that, high of an upside play, given the low total there.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking Forsling over the 2 shots for Forsling. So those were the 2 I was between. But
I like either.
Let's go with Arvidsson point.
I like
that
it.
was my first thought.
All right, Arvidsson point. So Travis Konechny 1 point, Jonathan Huberdeau 2+ shots on goal, Victor Arvidsson point plus 505 on DraftKings. New customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. We will post our parlay later of the night. Adam, thank you again for adding. Did you do research for tomorrow's card, Franco?
Not a ton, but there's one actually I believe me and Adam were talking about earlier today that we're very excited about for tomorrow. I guess we could talk about it real quick if we want.
Yeah, let's talk about that one real quick because I have a few angles as well for tomorrow.
Adam, I'll let you kick it off since you were the one that brought it up first here.
Yeah, so Jake Wallman revenge. I'm going to dabble into revenge angle. Jake Wallman already played his former team in San Jose. I think he had a goal. He had his shots. This is a team that just gave up on Jake Wallman. They just said, "Hey, we're going to move on, and we're going to, the Stevie Y plan that Detroit thought was going to work, and obviously a new head coach, and it looks like it's going to." We'll get to that game hopefully. It's the same game. So, but yeah, Detroit's been a little leaky. Also, the defenseman Brandon Montour just had 5. A couple other players that are already hit this number, so they've been kind of not so leaky for the forward group, but the defensemen because Detroit's just getting out to leads on every team that they're playing the last couple of games. So defensemen have just been firing a little bit more, and I think that could be the same game flow, game script, and then obviously you have the revenge narrative on there. Jake Wallman, first game back, last game, just came back from injury and had 5 shots on goal. So now you get Detroit, who's been leaky to the position, a little bit of revenge narrative. So Jake Wallman, point, shots on goal. I'll sprinkle on his goal. Just give it to me, all Jake Wallman props.
I love it.
Don't forget power play point as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Power play and Detroit's PK being terrible.
Yep.
That was actually flashing way back to when that game happened. It was November 18th. At that point, Wallman wasn't really a known commodity in the betting market, and I had saw that he had been playing on the top power play and kind of racking up some numbers, and actually reached out to Bet365 to add him, and they added all of his props, and I hit them all that game. It was fantastic. So we'll see awesome. what his lines are at. But 7 shot attempts last game against them. He has 3. He recorded a power play assist, I believe. So yeah, I love it tomorrow. I think that's a great angle, just given that revenge narrative, how he was tossed to the curb by them, and he's also playing in Detroit as well. That's just an added bonus on top of it. So
yep.
I love that play tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. There's a few things I want to point out. Troy Terry had a kid, has not returned to the lineup since. They're debating that it's questionable if he does tomorrow. Automatic bet for a point. He's been Anaheim's best forward this season, best player. So look out for Troy Terry. Also, in that San Jose Detroit game, San Jose allows the most shots on goal to forwards in the last 10. Dylan Larkin shots on goal has been phenomenal the last few games. So be sure to check out that one. Chikrin, 2 in Anaheim, Washington. Anaheim gives up the second most shots on goal to defensemen in their last 10. He's been firing. So check that one out. And the last one I had was, there are 2 more. Kyrou and Holloway. Calgary's on a back-to-back for their shots, so check out them. And then Philly, Columbus, Werenski and Marchenko have both been phenomenal as well in that category. Trying to think.
You didn't bring up Fantilli. Like, come on.
Fantilli as well.
Yep.
Yes, that's a good point. I didn't have him. That's a really good call.
Yeah, we'll see how it'll be interesting to see, like we talked about earlier in the chat, like what they drop his lines at. The books, like we were just talking about the books, like he had his first game in Columbus, got a point. Second game on the road in St. Louis. I think the books are kind of taking that home road splits and kind of like basing it like props off of that. So like I'm hoping that they still give us like a -110 prop. He's playing that top line, top power play, points and goal. Is it 2 goals in both games, or is it just 2 point? No, points in both games.
Yeah, points in both games. He scored his last game, but the previous one he did not.
Got it.
And Marchenko told him he owed him one because they were both breaking towards the empty net, and it was kind of going to be a risky pass if he were to pass it to Fantilli. So he buried it, and he's like, "Sorry, man." So
I love it.
It was owed.
So Marchenko, Apple, got it. Heard that tomorrow.
Your Robertson Brothers stack tomorrow is also live.
Nick Robertson scoring.
I'm betting Nick straight. I've yet to bet him straight. I keep only parlaying him with Jason, and Jason keeps letting me down. So I am absolutely betting Nick Robertson straight because he's hit, I believe, in 2 straight versus them. So
yeah, every time I bet Jason Robertson to score a goal, he gets an assist, and every time I bet him to get an assist, he scores a goal. So he's off limits. Another prop that I'm going to bet tomorrow is, I'm just going to go back to the wagon, and that is the Detroit power play. Again, against San Jose, terrible. Even if it is Askarov, I know he's been a lot better. Detroit's power play, I think, is hitting at a 60% clip, I think, now in the last couple games. It's absolutely just insane how good they are as of late. So Lucas Raymond power play point is probably going to be one of my bigger bets of the day tomorrow. And then I am doing a 2-leg just money line parlay of Detroit and Columbus, the 2 of the hottest teams going right now, and they're at home tomorrow. And then do I see Vancouver in the Rangers tomorrow night?
Vancouver and Winnipeg.
Oh, Winnipeg. I'm sorry. Who's playing the Rangers? I can't tell. My apologies.
So the Rangers Colorado. And Colorado.
Perfect. So Kel McCarr 2+ points. You can just put that'll be on my bingo card as well tomorrow night. The Rangers are just terrible. Adam Fox assist. Man, I'm gonna have so many plays tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome. 13 games. It's gonna be awesome.
I know Detroit and Reg I had circled as well. That's -150 on DraftKings. Franco, there's one glaring bet tomorrow. One glaring bet tomorrow. Revenge angle.
I mean,
Vegas, Nashville.
Why
Jonathan Marchessault.
Marchessault, yeah. I didn't get that far in my thought process yet. I have JG Pajot circled though right now as I was looking through these games because that's where my brain goes to for
sicko.
Revenge. Dude, he's gonna get a point for sure.
I love it.
And I will sprinkle his goal. Jesper Boquist again will be playing the Devils. He scored against them earlier this year. I'm going right back to him.
The Devils kind of low-key own the Panthers, by the way.
Yeah. So we'll see. I think that's a big revenge game for Florida. Like you said, this is a potential letdown spot for them tonight against Philly. We got the Geeky brothers going against each other again. I'm owed, so I'm going right back to them. Of course, Morgan scored yesterday, so fuckers. That's always how it happens. I don't know why I don't just like if I lose a bet, like I feel like you just gotta take, especially like a goal score like that.
Yeah.
Like I had Gauthier against the Flyers. He scored 2 goals the next game. It's just I feel like it happens every time. There's no way you're going back to it, but yeah.
One more angle that I'm probably gonna bet tomorrow, and just because of what Detroit just did to them, and also how good Pittsburgh's power play has been. But Pittsburgh power play points is another one that I'll probably be kind of keeping an eye on value wise. I'm trying to see if they made a change to their top power play because I know Michael Bunting was on the top power play and he did
He
some really
should still
good,
be. He should still
but
be
I
there.
think
Yeah.
okay, cool. So probably Michael Bunting and Sidney Crosby. Eric Carlson back on the top power play is insane. His assist and power play points have been hitting at a pretty good rate too. So you'll probably see me on some of those props as well for Seattle. Seattle's been an absolute dumpster fire as of late.
I like it. Any other last plays for tomorrow's slate?
Does Quinn Hughes play?
Yeah,
He
Yeah,
does.
but it's against
2+
Winnipeg.
points.
It's against
2+
Winnipeg.
points.
But yeah, I mean, I feel like you got to take it. You're going to get value. You're going to get value for that.
I mean, he had 2+ points, and that was like the 2+ 280 last game. Yeah, and against Toronto, they're kryptonite, and he still put up 2 points.
I like it.
I will say I don't mind locking in CBJ tomorrow on the money line -120 like now because I feel like it's going to go down.
Why is it -120? It's just
and you know
Thank
you're
you.
going to get Kolosov or Fedotov, so
Like-
pick your poison who you want. But I would rather not have Urson in that if I'm backing or going against the Flyers.
You also look at Columbus's home splits too. 14,
they've been insane.
5-3 at home, 6, 12-3 on the road. So I
I'm
like
pretty
that
sure
-120.
I'm pretty sure Werenski owns the Flyers too, like just with shots and
his
points
shots,
and
his
stuff
points.
like that.
Yeah. So
Everything.
I like that as well. All right. Any closing thoughts?
Nazem Kadri's back in St. Louis. That's always fun.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Ooh.
That
we
angle
don't.
of hate.
He knocked out our goalie, and we could have won the cup that year. I don't want to talk about it, but
You guys still got a cup. Can't get too dirty over there.
Capo Caco has been great for Seattle.
Yeah.
I mean, as lackluster as they've been overall, we know Pittsburgh can give up goals with the best of them. If his point prop is still decent, he's been pretty good. I'm probably going to look at that tomorrow too.
And I just locked in one more play, and that is the Montreal Utah Hockey Club over 5.5, -120. Those two teams, they're just not. Both those penalty kills they just take too many penalties. Both of those teams.
Montreal money line +140 as well.
That's unbelievable. Utah at home is an auto fade, no doubt.
Yep.
Yeah. When Betsky's not here, we can finally fade Utah. So that's perfect. All right, Adam, I want to thank you for joining today's show. We will be back Wednesday for another live stream, so be sure to tune into that. Thank you again to our sponsors, DraftKings, and our presenting sponsor, THPN. Thanks again for listening and tuning in. We will post our parlay and our full card, so be sure to stay on the tune for that. But with that being said, have a good one. See ya.
Thanks, guys.